Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Ataivam
Akila
Lokapala Dalamopi Vilakshanayar Jaravad Avadhuta Vesha Asha Charitair Avilakshita Bhagavat Prabhavo Yoginam Samparaya Vidhim Anushikshayan Swakalevaram Tihasur Atmani Atmanam Asanghyavahitam Anatantara bhavena anvikshmana uparatanu-vrittir upararama Tataiva makila lokapala lalamopi vilakshanaya jaravad avaduta vesha bhasha charitayar avilakshita bhagavat prabhavo yoginam samparaya vidhim manushikshayan swakalevaram jihasur atmanyatmanamosang vyavahitam anatantara bhavenan vikshamana uparatanu vrittir upararama. Thereafter, evam, in this way, akila lokapala lalamaha, the head of all kings and monarchs of the universe, api, although, vilakshanaihi, various, jadavat, as if stupid, avadhuta vesha bhasha charitaihi, by the dress, language, and characteristics of an avadhuta, avilakshita bhagavat prabhavaha, hiding the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, keeping himself like an ordinary human being, yoginam, of the yogis, samparaya vidhim, the method of giving up this material body, anushikshāyan, teaching, swakalevaram, his own personal body, which is not at all material, jihasuhu, desiring to give up like an ordinary human being, atmani, unto Vasudeva, the original person, atmanam, himself, Lord Rishabhadeva, being an Aveshavatara of Lord Vishnu, asang vyavahitam, without intervention by the illusory energy, anartantara bhavena, himself in the status of Vishnu, anvikshamana, always seeing, uparatanu vritihi, who is acting as if giving up his material body, upararama, seized his pastimes as the king of this planet. Translation: Lord Rishabhadeva was the head of all kings and emperors within this universe, but assuming the dress and language of an avadhuta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted this behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna. Remaining always in that state, he gave up his pastimes as Lord Rishabhdev within the material world. If, following in the footsteps of Lord Rishabhdev, one can give up his subtle body, there is no chance that one will accept a material body again.
अतएव अखिल लोकपाल रामोपि विलक्षणे जडवत् धृतवेषा. So this is also opulence of Krishna. Jadavat avadhuta vesha, although he is the proprietor, Sarvaloka Maheswaram, still This is another opulence, how to become renounced. This is another opulence. It is as good as the other opulences. 𝒍𝒍𝒃 𝒚𝒔. All the means property, money, wealth, these are 𝒍𝒍. And he says, Krishna, 𝒍𝒃𝒂𝒚𝒔, not only in one planet, but all the universes, all the planets within the universes, they are all the properties of Krishna. 𝒍𝒃𝒂𝒚𝒔. 𝒍𝒍𝒃 𝒚𝒔, 𝒉𝒍, strength. What is that? So, 𝒍𝒍, jnana vairag, this is vairag. Not that simply Krishna is enjoying 16,000 palaces, 16,000 queens, and millions of descendants, Jaduvamsa. This is another side. And this is another side, vairag. Jnana vairag. Jnana, we can understand a little piece of his contribution of jnana, Bhagavad-gītā. That is a little piece of his stock of knowledge. 5,000 years he spoke, and still it is being continued, not only in India, but also all over the world. This is jnana. So anyway, strength, when you are 7 years old, Krishna, he lifted the Govardhan hill, jnana, vairagya, everything complete, that is God. Nothing less, not that I am a rich man, but I cannot lie down on the street, not that kind of vairagya. He is complete, completely different from a rich person. 𝒂𝐻𝐻, he is the controller of the whole universe. Still, you see, he is vairagya. So, Krishna consciousness means vairagya vidya. Vairagya vidya nija bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means vairagya vidya. We should understand. That he is teaching by his personal behavior. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also taught us vairagya vidya. He, when he was a grihastha, he was the most learned scholar in the Buddhi. When he was 16 years old, he defeated a very great learned scholar, 𝒍𝒃𝒂𝒚𝒔. He was requested by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to make some stanzas praying the Ganges. So he immediately made 100 slokas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at that time 16 years old, he was a student of grammar. He pointed out on the 64th slok so many defects. He was surprised that this boy is a student of grammar and he has picked up so many mistakes in my composition. one of the prominent mistake was Bhavani Bharta. Bhavani Bharta, Bhavani means the wife of Bhava, Lord Shiva. And he pointed out who can be Bharta, he, her, again. So both of them were Pandit, yes. And there are so many mistakes he pointed out. That was his learning. He was known as Nimai Pandit. Of course, Brahmins were all called Pandit. Still in India there is a practice. The Brahmanas are addressed as Panditji, because Brahmana cannot be Murkha. That is not possible. That is not a Brahmana. He must be a scholar. At least he must know what is the ultimate goal of knowledge. So, in the Kali Yuga, we do not expect everyone to be very scholar. That is not possible. But if we understand what is the objective of education, then he is a scholar. Just like our Gaur Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, he was illiterate. He could not sign his name. But he became the spiritual master of the best scholar of his time, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati. So, it is not the education, ABCD. In Bengal we say Angwang. No. What is the purport of education? The purport of education is spoken by Krishna himself. 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒔 𝒂𝐻𝐻𝐈𝐍. If one understands Krishna and takes to the shelter of his lotus feet, he is also the biggest scholar. योगिनाम अपि सर्वेषां मद्गतान्तरात्मना सद्ध्यावान् भजति समयुक्तम्. So, therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended Kalo Nastiva 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 by his practical life. When Prakashananda Saraswati criticized him that you are a sannyasi and you do not read Vedanta and you simply chant and dance. This was the question. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied that my Guru Maharaj found me a great fool. Therefore he advised me that you have no jurisdiction in studying Vedas because you are not a scholar, you are not very highly learned, you are a murkha. Guru mane murkha dekhi, korilo sasana. So who will read Vedanta at the present moment? There is no education. But if we follow the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Vedanta philosophy is not for ordinary person. Simply, if we chant Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐈𝐍, then we get the same result what we get by studying Vedanta and Vedic literature. If we understand the Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam and we sacrifice everything for achieving the mercy of Krishna, then our Vedanta study is complete. That is the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalo nastriva 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 bhakti. And practically we see in our Krishna consciousness movement, all you are young Westerns, you never study Vedanta, but you can surprise many so-called Vedantis how to understand Krishna, how it has become possible. Simply by your fond faith in your spiritual master and Krishna and chanting Hare. Yes. 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒔, yatha devi tatha guru. This is the Vedic process. If we have got fond faith in Guru and fond faith in Krishna, Guru Krishna 𝒄𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕 Bhaktivedanta 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒔, then you get the seedling of Bhaktivedanta. Somehow or other we have to come to this Bhaktivedanta, increasing or nourishing the Bhakti Kripa, that will be effective. So those who are Jnainis, very learned scholars, they cannot understand Krishna. Vedeshu durlabh. It is not by academic education one can understand Krishna. 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒔 siddhyanam kaschid vettimam tattva. There are so many mistakes coming. They say it is kalpana, so many things. But here Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna as 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕, Krishna as Krishna himself, they are teaching us how to become pure devotee. Because sakalevaraṁ jihasu rātun. Before leaving here this body, you must be self-realized. That is the aim of life. Bhavanam sambhavanam te. We have got this life, human form of life, and how to utilize this human form of life, how to achieve the Vairagya Vidya. This is Vairagya Vidya. No more interest in material things, that is Vairagya Vidya. Even to the body, that is 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕 is teaching us. This is Vairagya. Bhakti Yoga means Vairagya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has spoken the same thing. Niṣkiñcanasya Bhagavad bhajanonmukasya. Niṣkiñcanasya. If you actually want to become a pure devotee, then you have to make this material way of life completely zero. Annavilasita sunnam. Then it will be possible. If you have still a pinch of attraction for material life, then it will stop your promotion to the other spiritual world. Simply attachment to Krishna, that will make you advanced. Janma karmancha nidikvam jujanati tattva taptadeha. He can, after giving up this body, mameti, he does not accept anymore the material body. He is immediately promoted to the spiritual world and Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha. There are many millions of Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual world. So if we become Vairagi, Vairagi means no attachment for this material world, how to become completely free from all attachment of this material world, that is being exemplified by 𝒍𝒍𝒃. He doesn't take care even of the body. Although he is Vaikuntha Purush, how comfortably he lives in Vaikuntha Loka. Lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama sevyamanam. We are expecting one woman or wife will look after my comforts, but there Krishna is taken care of by hundreds and thousands of women. And who are they? Lakshmi, they are all goddess of force, not ordinary women. Lakshmi has two features, Maya and the goddess of force. The same Lakshmi, according to position, just like a government has got two departments, criminal department and civil departments. So the government is the same, but there are two departments. This Maya is criminal department and Vaikuntha is civil department. Vaikuntha means there is no anxiety, and Maya means always anxiety. Sada samudabhigna dhyam asadgraha. Because we accepted the jurisdiction of Maya, they are asadgraha, asatoma sadgama. Therefore Vedic instruction is, don't remain in this asat, om tat sat. Go to the real life, jyotirgama. Don't remain in the darkness. This is Vedic instruction. So anyone who has accepted this material world as very comfortable, it is not comfortable, it is simply suffering. Krishna says, dukkhalayam asāsvatam. And still, if we want to be happy in this material world, bahirarthamanina, these fools that are trying to be happy within this material. Material means external energy. Bahirarthamanina. Nati vidu sarthagatim hi Vishnu. Durasaya. This is durasaya, the hope which will never be fulfilled. But this we do not. Maya sukhaya paramudbhavato vimura. Unless there is vairagya, there is no question of happiness. But we cannot attain vairagya immediately, therefore the vidhi-marga bhakti, to rise early in the morning, to attend Mangalarithri, to offer deity, flowers, fruits, and in this way we shall be engaged 24 hours, then Vairagya Vidya will gradually develop. Anartha avasamam sakshat bhakti yogam dukkhaji. There is anartha. This material life is simply anartha. Has no meaning. Because you are creating another life. This, without any spiritual knowledge, if we simply give ourselves to the action and reaction of material nature, then we are making progress on the path of mrityu samsara vartmani. And if we attain Krishna, then māmupeta kontriya dukkhalayam asāt nāpnuvanti. The two ways. So our request is that we have taken to this Vairagya Vidya. So Vairagya Vidya, we do not say that you starve don't eat anything, don't sleep at all. No. It should be regulated. Anasaktasya vishayan jatharham puryantam. Don't be attached to eating, sleeping. That is not good. But you must eat, you must sleep as little as possible and try to conquer over it. My mind dictating, I sleep 17 hours. No. That is tapasya. Tapasya brahmacharya. Why shall you sleep more than 4 hours or 5 hours or at most 6 hours? That's all. Not more than that. That is Vairagya. We have to learn it. That is devotional service. 𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕 𝒍𝒐 he is teaching. Krishna himself is teaching. Here, you see, the Shabda is Krishna. 𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he taught 𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕. Tatya sudustada 𝒍𝒐 king. Dharmisthaya 𝒍𝒐 𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕 Maya mridam gaitayev sitamannadav bande mahapurusati charanarama. So, opulence, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna appeared in a Kshatriya family, very opulent. Lord Ramchandra appeared in a Kshatriya family, kingdom, opulence. He also accepted Vairagya. Father requested, my dear son, your mother likes that you should go to the forest immediately. Yes. This sloka is applicable to Lord Ramachandra. Tatya sudustada 𝒍𝒐 king. He was going to be coronated next day king, but immediately by the order of his father, he left everything. Tattva sudustada 𝒍𝒐. Is there any instance throughout the history of the whole world that a prince was going to be king tomorrow and on the order of father he left everything? This is Vairagya. This is called Vairagya. Tatya sudustada �𝒐 king dharmishta 𝒍𝒐 𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕. 𝒍𝒑. Elderly person is called 𝒍𝒑, respectful person is called. 𝒍𝒑 means one is advanced. 𝒍𝒑 does not mean meat eaters, Aryan family. No. Aryan means one who is advanced in civilization. They are called Aryan. Not these fools and rascals Aryan. No. 𝒍𝒑. A superior person, his father, Maharaj Dasarath, said immediately. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, this sloka can be applicable to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. He also became a sannyasi, 𝒍𝒑. One Brahmana cursed him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to receive some blessings from the Brahmanas. When he was born, he was voluntarily trying to give some service to the Brahmanas who are engaged in bathing in the Ganges. He will clear the place because the Brahmana after taking bath in the Ganges will sit down, will chant mantra. So he will cleanse and he will wash the cloth. Voluntarily he was doing that service. So one Brahmana blessed him, my dear boy, you will be very happy in your family life, you will have good wife, very in an opulent position, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was blocking the ears. The Brahmana said, what is this? No, this is not blessing, sir. Oh, it is not blessing? Then you will never be happy in your family life. Yes, this is this is all right. So therefore he took some time. Ārdhavata Sahajadagadarana. Similarly, Lord Ramchandra, Ārdhavata Sahajadagadarana. These are the characteristics of the personality of God. Try to follow them. Not imitate, but follow. Thank you.
They had developed a kind of boogieing, doing rock dancing. This was going on during Guru Puja. It's all of a sudden, Prabhupada, like a conductor, like a maestro, he just stopped the Guru Puja cold, in an instant. And we're all kind of frozen in place. And then Prabhupada gestures to the picture of the Panchatattva in the distance, how their arms are upraised. And he says, dance, dance like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're all corrected, because we're all getting into disco dancing, twisting and boogaloo and shingling and, whatever.
The first time that I ever saw Prabhupada was in the morning. He was sitting on the Vyasa-san at the Chicago temple. He was giving a lecture about how we all want to see God, but we can't even see the little piece of God, the soul. Otherwise, why would we be crying when some relative has died? And if we haven't seen a piece of God, How can we think that we can see God? I was standing right near the Vyasa-san, maybe 2 feet away, and fanning Prabhupada with a peacock feather fan all during the lecture. And I was simultaneously very happy and very disappointed. I was very happy because I realized that hearing Prabhupada there on the Vyasa-san was no different than hearing a tape recording of him. All that time I've been listening to Prabhupada lectures on tapes, I'd been with him, hearing him, and I felt so happy and so satisfied. But I had wanted something different. I hadn't wanted it to be just the same as a tape recording. I had wanted to get to know Prabhupada the person. A few hours later, my father, my husband, and I went into Prabhupada's room. And right before Srila Prabhupada was speaking to a reporter, which is what you're seeing here, he was very much joking, very congenial, very relaxed. Right after the reporters left, then my father, my husband, and I were introduced. At that point, Prabhupada leaned back on the cushion, and he had one of his legs up, and his dhoti was such that you could see his calves and his lotus feet. And I remember thinking how soft his skin was. It looked like a skin of a baby. And as the conversation began to unfold, I realized that here Krishna was fulfilling my desire to get to see Prabhupada as an individual person. When I was listening to him on the Vyasa-san, I was seeing him as the guru, as the acharya, and here I was seeing him as Prabhupada, the individual person. It was very, very sweet. This was the first time also that my father had met Srila Prabhupada. My father had been coming to the temple periodically since I joined. First, he introduced himself, but Prabhupada thought that my husband was my father's son. And then he understood that it was the daughter. He said, "Do you have any sons?" My father said, "No, only daughters." Prabhupada said, "Oh, only daughters." And then my father said, "I'm coming to this temple not because I want to see Krishna, but because I want to see my daughter and my son-in-law. Is that all right?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes, they are loving Krishna." And I was thinking, I don't love Krishna. He said chanting and dancing are symptoms of loving Krishna. And they are loving Krishna, and you are loving them. So two things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. Then my father said, "But I'm a Jew, and is it really all right that I come to the temple even though I'm Jewish?" Prabhupada said, "Yes, there can be many planes going to Chicago, but they have to know they are going to Chicago. Otherwise, what is the meaning of many planes? So there can be many religions, but they have to know what is the goal. The goal is to know God and to love Him. If you know that the goal is to know God and to love Him, then there can be many religions." After we walked out, my father turned to me and said, "Now I know why you've come to this Hare Krishna movement. That is a genuine holy man."
After the Radha Damodar party, I went to the BBT library party, and we had the good fortune to have a darshan with Srila Prabhupada in Chicago. Mostly, of course, Satsrupa Maharaj, Mahabodhi, Ganesham, they had many points that they were taking up with Srila Prabhupada, and I was kind of sitting on the edge of things. But I had one question in my mind, and I waited for my chance, and then when there was a little lull, I raised my hand and Prabhupada called on me. My concern was often the professors wanted to know if these books will tell us about the ancient technology of Vedic India. Because at that time, a book had come out by Erich von Däniken called Chariot of the Gods. And there was reference in there to the Mahabharata and Puranas, that they were Bimanas or airplanes or flying saucers, whatever they were, described in these ancient Sanskrit texts. So I wanted to hear Prabhupada, what he would say about this. And I said, "Srila Prabhupada, many times the professors I meet, they ask me about Vedic technology." And Prabhupada hardly let those words
get out of my mouth before he rapped the table with his knuckles. And he just said very shortly, Vedic technology means Sri Guru Parampara. And that's all he said. But it was such a profound statement for me. It was an immediate instruction because, of course, I was asking the question impelled by all kinds of speculations going on in my mind. I had actually read that book, Chariot of the Gods, just to, find out more what these professors were talking about. So, my mind had been drifting in orbit. And Prabhupada just brought me right down to earth. Vedic technology means Sri Guru Parampara, and I meditated on that. That's been a very important sutra in my life since that time. One thing is that you think about technology in the modern sense, and it's the motive force behind this Western civilization and the culture that is associated with that, which has really covered the earth. So technology is the dynamic force of civilization. We know that the Vedic civilization once covered the earth. India was once in the position that America is in now, as being the leading country that all other countries emulated. And how it got to that position was because of following Sri Guru Parampara. And that is the key to how, again, Vedic culture can spread all over the world and become synonymous with civilization. See, now when people think of civilization, they look to America or they look to Western Europe. They think that's where civilization is. But actually, real civilization is Vedic civilization. And the key to that is Sri Guru Parampara, as Prabhupada said.
We went to Chicago to take Prabhupada darshan and have his association again. He immediately recognized us. He says, "Oh, I see you before in Detroit." And we told Prabhupada, we are very thankful. You have remembered us. We are fallen souls. We have no qualifications. And then again there was a gathering with the devotees. There was one question that we said, "Prabhupada, where do we serve you best?" So Prabhupada says, "You can become Krishna conscious anywhere." But then immediately he said, "Sun is the most brightest in India." What that means to me is that I can be more Krishna conscious and better way in India comparison to any other place. And then Prabhupada also said at that time that you have a good Krishna conscious background and also good material education, so you should give this Krishna conscious knowledge in an educational, institutional manner. So we were meditating how to do it. He told us twice in Chicago, as well as last time he came, that is my exact memory, 1976 in Los Angeles. Said, "I told you in Chicago to start educational institution." But we were not in a position immediately at that time to come to India. So we started little educational place, Sunday school, for the children of Indian origin. And we had 60 children coming to our place. And we were educating them in Krishna consciousness. Today we are running Bhaktivedanta Raj Vidyalaya. So it's an educational institution, as Prabhupada said. And we have 300 children studying, boys and girls. And it's a residential school. Krishna consciousness is taught from Mangala-arati till Bhagavatam class, like any other our temple program. And these are all karmi parents' children. These are not devotee children. As it is said in Isha-Upanishad, Sloka 11, that you can learn this Krishna consciousness and material education side by side. And also in 9th chapter, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharmam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. In purport, Prabhupada says there are all kinds of educational institutions all over the world, but there is no Krishna conscious educational institution or university. So according to that authority of Shastra, Sadhu and Guru, whatever this Bhaktivedanta Raj Vidyalaya English school is doing, is conformed with Prabhupada's instruction and his writings.
I remember the kirtans were very ecstatic at this time. There's several hundred devotees there. And they were doing Guru Puja. And everyone was dancing in ecstasy, but there was this lane. Prabhupada always kept an open lane between the men and the women so that he had a perfect direct view towards the deities. So sometimes when the kirtan started to become very ecstatic, the devotees started to dance into the middle lane. And Prabhupada started to wave his hand, move out of the way. I love my devotees, but I want to see my Lord. So I oftentimes go to temples and there's Prabhupada sitting on the Vyasasana and devotees are dancing, blocking the view of Prabhupada to the deities. We should always understand that Prabhupada is with us and we shouldn't commit Guru Aparadh by putting our back either to Prabhupada or blocking Prabhupada's vision to Radha and Krishna.
Prabhupada had traveled to Chicago with Brahmananda on the airplane, and Brahmananda was reading Time magazine, and the Time magazine feature article was crime, why and what to do. So Prabhupada got inspired by the idea that we could help to solve the crime problems in America with our program. So when he arrived in Chicago, he asked us to arrange for him to meet some people in the government so he could talk to them about this idea. So he met with the mayor of Evanston, and he met with some police lieutenant. I think Mosley was his name, I remember that. Then there was this old abandoned school in Chicago, in Evanston actually, north of Chicago, and Prabhupada asked us to propose to the government that they give us that school and help us fix it up to take in prisoners from the penal system and give them a program where we would feed them prasadam and engage them in kirtan and, some other things during the day, but a kind of rehabilitation program based on Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada was serious about it. He wanted me to go to the mayor of Evanston and propose this, and I did. And the mayor was friendly, but he said that that was the building that they had in mind for their new city hall. So he didn't think it was likely that he could get the council to approve it for our proposed purpose. I pursued it a little bit. We found some other properties that we looked at, but we couldn't get anyone to donate any facility, and we didn't have the money to buy any place, so we kind of had to drop the idea.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.